respected physical education teachers, and my dear students, express the thanks to give me the valuable session in my previous videos. Today's session of topic is Unit 8, Biomechanics and Sports. Overview of my session is equilibriums. Under this, dynamic, static, and central gravity and its application in sports. Next topic is friction in sports, and last topic is projectile in sports. We'll discuss one by one. Now, what is equilibrium? Equilibrium is when all the body, all the forces, or all the balance come acting as a zero. Means the equilibrium as a define the state of balance or stability in a situation in various situations where the opposite force are cancels and each other out, and there is no changes occurring in any type of motions or any type of forces, and that's called as equilibriums. Now, types of equilibriums, there are two types of equilibriums are there, static and dynamics. We'll discuss one by one. Now, first, static equilibriums. Static equilibriums is where the body in a stationary position, there is no movement is required, there is no rotating force is required. All the force or any type of torque or acting on the body or objects must added up to a zero. Under this, there is a three type of motionless conditions are there. First is vertical, means the sum of vertical forces acting on the body and must come as zero. Second is horizontal, the sum of all forces in a horizontal acting must be on a zero. And next is torque, and the sum of all torque means rotatory must be zero. Any type of rotation movements come as zero position. Now, static equilibrium examples, जैसे कि आप देख रहे हैं पिक्चर्स में, static position में starting blocks, both the wrestlers and one batter, everyone knows that is a Sachin Tendulkar photos are there, where they are playing in a one shot. The stance should be maintained by the batsman in a cricket or on the starting block by the sprinters, while stance must be in the wrestlers, etc. Now, second is dynamic where the movements are there. The dynamic equilibriums can be defined the state when all the applied or internal force applied to be on the moving by body in a balancing positions, resulting क्या होगा इसका movement with the unchanging speed, and their different directions. Examples are there. The body positions should be maintained by the sprinters while they are running on tracks. The cyclist while doing the cycling in a velodrome, dribbling the football by the soccer players, etc. Many examples are there, but the three basic examples which are showing in my presentations. Now, next is factor affecting their equilibriums. Many factors are there. Now, the first factors are there. The decreasing the instabilities by the center of gravity became the near edge of the base. कैसे होगा? Larger base होना चाहिए, greater body weight होना चाहिए, lower the center of gravity होना चाहिए, CG point होना चाहिए. When the any type of anticipating force coming है, वो भी ध्यान में रखना है. Now, place of the center of gravity near the side of the base accepted to the receive force. Next is extending your base of support in the direction of expected force. Under this, the greater frictions between the body and the surface while it coming at contact. Rotation must be axis, moving the cyclist in a easier to a balance in a stationary position of the cyclist. Kinesthetic physiological functions. And next is vestibular systems, just like a vision, touch, and the kinesthetic awareness. Now, next is guiding principles of determining to the degree of difficulties. Under this, now first क्या होगा? Broader the base, the greater the stabilities. जैसे कि two wrestlers both the legs का support लेके equal distributions करके रखें. Body weight is directly proportional to the stability. आपकी body weight भी और base of support भी एक determined होता है, जहाँ पर stability directly proportionate होती है. Now, next is lower the center of gravity, higher should be stability. अगर हम body weight CG point को down करते हैं, तो body weight भी stable होगा. Near the center of gravity, the base of support is more in the stabilities. And last is direction of acting force properly होना चाहिए, जहाँ पर हम applied force use कर रहे हैं. Now, next is center of gravity. Center of gravity क्या है? Center of gravity is point है where the weight or the mass of the body must be concentrated. The center of gravity is an individual one type of anatomically positions होती है should be marked by the intersecting on three primary planes and their three primary axes. The important applications of central gravity, that is the help in the, we'll discuss one by one, help in the athletes to move faster, stop their moving objects, help in the athletes to accelerate their body, help in the athletes to throwing their objects in a properly manner, help the athletes to lift their objects in a proper weights, and also help the athletes to pull up any type of objects. Next part is friction and sports. What is friction? Friction should be any type of oppose their motion between any type of between the two surfaces and that are in the touch. The friction is also work in the direction opposite from the direction that object is moving or trying to move. The friction is also produce their hit when we are sometimes we are using that rubbing. मैंने example दिया, अगर आप दो palms को rub करते हैं, sometimes it is कुछ देर के बाद वो warm हो जाता है. If you rub your hands together quickly, they get warm after some time. Now there are two type of frictions are there. First is static and second is kinetics. We will discuss one by one. Notice kinetic friction. Under the kinetic frictions, there are three different types are there: sliding friction, rolling friction, and fluid frictions. Now first is static friction. When the force is applied to an object, does not cause anything of movement नहीं होगा, because of their static body should be on the static position होगी, and they can use their extra force while they move of their stationary object. अगर वहाँ से move out होता है तो वहाँ पर हमें extra force should be required होगा अगर हमें rate of change of any type of motion हम कर रहे हैं तो. Now the first example जैसा आप pictures में देख रहे हैं कि एक normal person एक objects को push up कर रहा है, and they push their heavy objects with the less force, then the force is a static friction between the objects and the floor, and the object will not be moved. Next is kinetic friction. Kinetic friction, it occurs when the force is applied to an object and the objects can move. It includes the three different types of frictions are there. Under this, first is sliding frictions. Now the pushing of an object across the surface. This is when the two bodies are in contact. कोई भी दो body contact में होंगे and one body can be moved. The surface of the other body might be the sliding on the rubbing or over their surface. बहुत सारे examples है, but the few example I am showing. The first example is skating on the ice. Now planting a pole on the pole vault events and skiing or the sliding on the objects. Now second is rolling frictions. It occurs between the wheel or a surface when the two bodies are in contact and one body should be rolled over other, and it refers to as a rolling friction. Example are roller skaters and skates boats. Now next is fluid frictions. Fluid friction, it opposes the motion of the objects traveling through the fluids, and that fluids are gas हो सकता है, air हो सकता है, and water. Examples are paragliding versus the hanging glidings when an athletes are glide on the air. Now things to be factored in the frictions, where they applying the lubricants, any type of lubricants between the two surfaces, just like a motor oils, grease and wax. The friction can be reduced by the rolling rather than the pushing on any type of objects. Friction can increase as the surface are made in a rough. The friction increase when the force between two objects is also increased. In general, the smooth surfaces produce less friction rather than uneven frictions. Next is projectile, last topic of the chapter. Projectile in an object, कोई भी हम flight में हम throw करते हैं, and being thrown in a projectile, it is called as projectile motion. An object in a flight, after being a throw, a projectile is called as projectile. Now examples are there. Object is acting a projectiles just like a basketball, football, shot put, hammer throws, discus, javelin, golf ball, volleyball, tennis ball, etc. The object is a projectile in a high jump, long jump, gymnastics, diving, figure skating, skiing, jumping, and many examples are there. Now is factor affecting the projectile. Many factors are there. The few factors are gravity. The gravity is a force exerted by the earth, that is 9.8 meter per second, and objects towards the center of the body and is directly proportional the weight or mass of the body. Next is air resistance. The several vital factors as being air resistance is an important play. First is surface area. The larger the surface area, more resistance will the effect the object. Example, basketball compared to the golf ball. Next is speed. As the speed increases, so the air resistance can be enhanced, just like a space of the shuttlecock. The surface of the object, if the surface is rougher, the air resistance will be greater. Example are the swinging the ball in the cricket. Next is mass or weight of the object. The smaller the mass, that means just lighter objects, the more resistance and will be the affected. What are the examples? Movement of the shuttlecock in the badminton. Next is speed of release. This is referred to how the fastest object can be released, throw and lift or hit. The mass of force is larger, determining as a projectile the speed of release. Generally, the greater release rate, the greater the distance can be gained, means more distance can be enhances. Now next affected is angle of release या projection of angles. ऐसा बोला जाता है कि हमें कोई भी object horizontally 45 degrees में throw करना है in any type of shootings. In activities just like a tennis or the lower around the 30 to 15 degrees great is required. The height of release is improved in a horizontal distance. Can be any type of object can be projected. For the given the speed angle of release, the greater the height of release, the greater the distance can be gained, means ज़्यादा distance gain करेगा. What are the example? The height of release, the throwing any type of wind like a javelin, hammer throw, etc. Next is spin. Spin can be happen in moving through any type of air will move in the direction at least air pressure. This help to the projectile maintain its course and can the cause of change of height or the directions. Now the application of projectile in sports. In optimal, any type of projection of sports might be in the ball in a shot and the projection of the distance from the hoops. According to the John Fontenelle, the ideal angles between the throw of any type of wheel can be 48.7 degree to 52.2 degrees with the any type of shooter that ball that is called as basketball. The references which I have taken in first the syllabus in 2024 and references CBSE handbooks which are easily available in the CBSE site. Thank you.